Hello and welcome to State of the Economy. Today we have with us Dr. Ashok Gulati, eminent agriculture economist who has been coming to Rajya Sabha studios before, and many of the things that he has been analyzing, predicting in the past 2 years have actually come true. Therefore, we keep having Dr. Ashok Gulati over to our studios every once in a while to understand what's really going on in the agriculture sector. And this is the right time to again focus on agriculture, because the finance minister, prime minister himself, both have said that the forthcoming budget will have a big focus on agriculture, because agriculture incomes, rural incomes, rural demand is one of the biggest, depressed rural demand is one of the biggest problems Arun Jaitley has cited, which biggest challenges which needs to be addressed. Recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came up with a fairly comprehensive crop insurance scheme for farmers, because farmers have been reeling under back-to-back droughts, unseasonal rains, and what have you, and their farmers' incomes most certainly probably have not registered much growth in recent times. To discuss that and much more, Dr. Ashok Gulati, so tell us what is going on. Some of your earlier predictions are coming true. You had said that the Rabi crop will suffer. You had gone all over the country. You are one of the economists who actually goes to the ground and you bring feedback from the ground, and you're also advisor to the Madhya Pradesh government. You advise this government also, directly or indirectly. So tell us what's going on.
Well, I wish I can give a good news from the farm front, but the situation on the agriculture sector is not very rosy. Unfortunately, India had back-to-back drought 2 years. The growth rate in agriculture has collapsed. The average optimistic one is 0.45%.
Yeah, you mentioned in your recent India Express article that
that's right.
During NDA regime it's 0.4. Optimistic.
11th plan was 4% growth, and that was one of the reasons why
the UPA got re-elected, possibly.
UP, not only re-election, but you look at the poverty reduction. The rate of poverty reduction was 3 times faster between 2004 to 11 than during 93 to
I think this is the fastest reduction in poverty in the last 4 decades, right?
So I would say that there is good economics and there is good politics. You come back, if you are doing good on the farm front, it rewards you. It has been shown in 3-4 states. Gujarat was one where 10 years they had high rates of growth in agriculture. Madhya Pradesh today, last 10 years, has the highest rate of growth in agriculture. Chhattisgarh also has a very good. Any state that has more than 7% growth rate in agriculture, the chief ministers have come back.
Yeah, sure.
So at all India level, we are not asking for 7% growth rate in agriculture. It can't absorb. But I think overall growth rate of 8% and agriculture growth rate of 4%, the targets which are set up in the 12th five-year plan or earlier plans, I think they are very much on the robust ground. But if the reality turns out to be less than 2%, in fact, first 2 years of this government, it is less than 0.5%.
Yeah, the agriculture
There is a serious crisis. And when you don't hear that the policy making is making bold moves to redress that, the whole focus is getting diverted into Make in India and all smart cities and all that, which is good in its own way. But where are your people? Masses, your 50% of your workforce is in agriculture, your population is highly dependent
now,
on
belatedly, the finance minister admitted it's a big challenge.
I'm happy that now the Prime Minister has started looking at that, because it will be a heavy political price and heavy economic price. Industry today feels that rural demand is sagging. And if that is not coming up, how the wheels of industry or make in India will run.
Yeah, the proxy being tractor sales and motorcycle
Exactly.
sales, negative
They have
growth
dropped.
for the last
That's right.
12, 15 months.
Yes, it's dropping. So I think to make a good pump up the demand for industrial goods, you need agriculture incomes to rise. And there are bigger issues, yes, short term, medium term, long term, which we have to plan. But the focus has to be there.
Tell us this budget, if you were making this budget and you were to focus on a few short term issues which something like bringing immediate relief to farmers and a few medium term, say 3 years, 4 years, what would you focus on? You've gone around the country and you told me, first of all, Dr. Gulati, you give us a view of the agriculture map of India. You went to Maharashtra, Karnataka, various states, Chhattisgarh, and a couple of months ago, 3-4 months ago, you told me that the Rabi crop is not going to be very good. What is the situation now? And then we'll come to what are the remedies which the budget can come up with.
It was very well known that the moisture is less in the soil, and therefore even your biggest crop, wheat crop, is going to
because of deficient rainfall.
Deficient rainfall earlier, and now wherever irrigation is not assured, you are going to get a lower output. So even this Rabi is not going to be any great. Right? I'm hearing that even the wheat estimates which government is projecting are way above than what the reality on the ground is. So it's going to be less.
I'm told in wheat you'll be lucky if you barely maintain last year's production. You'll be less than last year.
It's going to be less than. That's what the
estimate is.
The reports from the ground are coming. Government is
could be
yet
negative
to
growth.
reconcile on that. So all said and done, I wish that there are no hailstorms this time, because last time around this time, February and March, there
this
were
was the time
hails
when
there's
a lot of crop
damage.
got destroyed.
So either spikes in temperature can kill the productivity, or hails can destroy the standing crop. So I hope and pray that that doesn't happen this time, so we are not too much worse off. But it's not a very rosy picture on that front. But also when I compare with back-to-back drought of 65, 66 or 80s, it's not that situation. We are not in that grim situation. We have ample stocks and we can reasonably manage our things well. Only thing is that the farmer's income is being hit very adversely. The price front, you can be okay, you can manage it. Buffer stocks are there, imports you can have.
The farmer's income is a big problem.
Farmer's income. So from that point of view, we had been recommending for the last 6-8 months that we have to update and modernize our crop insurance system. So I do want to congratulate this government that this government.
The Prime Minister recently made a big announcement on.
So that's what we had been in the process of talking how best it can be done, because we have to get it science-based and quick assessment of crop damages and quick compensation mechanism, dispersal.
Without bureaucracy coming in the way.
And there is a way, through high tech you can assess very quickly, through automatic weather stations, through drones, through LEOs, low Earth orbits and satellites all combined. This can give you, within 2 weeks you can assess the crop damages. And then if you lock in, you digitize the plots and then lock in the Aadhaar number and the bank account number of the farmer. Then within 2 days you can make the compensation directly to the farmer's accounts. So all this technology exists. There are countries which are doing it.
You told me the last time that China covers about 85-90% of the
not
land
85,
holdings?
90, 73, 75 million hectares. And that's what we had recommended to the government, that you should go at least to 100 million hectares. Then your premium rates will come down. Because the actuarial based premium, which hovers between 8 to 11% or so, depending upon Kharif and Rabi, can come down to less than 3%. So they have put a cap that farmer will not pay more than 2%, so the rest will be in a way a subsidy from the government side. But the challenge and the litmus test of this entire thing is how quickly and how accurately you can do the crop damage assessment, and how quickly you can make the compensation directly to farmer's account without his coming on the street and shouting or committing extreme steps. So I think that government is on the right track on that by announcing this, but the infrastructure is not in place. Yes.
Exactly. Can I ask one question in this connection? You said in China, large number of farmers are covered, right? That is made possible, and you also told me, I remember, that the Chinese, through scientific methods, as you suggest, they assess the situation and they put the money in the bank account. They don't have to go and queue up before some government department. But the key difference between China and India is that in China, I believe land titles are pakka. In India, a large number of farmers absentee, the guys are doing.
You know, you digitize, there is a small, simple, 7,000, 8,000 rupees instrument that you can use to digitize the plots.
Okay.
This is the plot. Now, who is the owner or who is the tenant? Who is the tenant? They have to register. And if there are more than one person registering that, you can check and get it verified who is the operator. And those can be put on the cloud. And all plots will be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever digital number you want to give them. So if this entire, and those plots will have the account numbers and the Aadhaar numbers of those people too. So it's not a legal matter, it is what is going on in the operation. And then if this entire patch is impacted, whose plots are these and whose accounts are these? So the money can be sent directly to them. Now, RBI has to play an important role in this, locking in banking systems.
So this is the infrastructure that you're talking about.
And automatic weather stations to start with, drones to supplement that, and LEOs, low Earth orbits, which are much cheaper and faster and can give you continuous monitoring of the crop. China last year launched 100 LEOs. So our satellite has a limitation because it comes at the same spot after 24 days. So you have a science-based system rather than some team going, and it is more politics than real economics, and then Patwari system and a lot of corruption in the system. Let's set the better. So today's crop insurance system is not at all can give relief to the farmers. I think PM has taken a bold step in announcing a new one. But getting the infrastructure in place, somebody in the PMO or the concerned ministry has to persevere that this is done within the next 6 months. Otherwise, justice cannot be delivered.
You think it will take about 6 months to a year?
It can be done. If not, they will take it years and may not do it. It's only an announcement, then it's only a slogan.
So you're saying this infrastructure is a must.
Otherwise, how do you deliver?
How do you identify the...
If it takes you 1 year to compensate the farmer, then I don't think you have done justice to him. But that's only a short-term ointment on his wounds. You know what?
Medium term you have to come up with?
Productivity enhancement.
Tell me, what can Arun Jaitley do for medium term revival of India's farm sector?
You know, how to turn around farm sector, you need only 2 things. One, investment in technology, and second, remunerative prices. Now, to investment in technology, either you put in water, wherever irrigation comes, productivity doubles, right? So water investments that are needed in this country are humongous. We are giving even peanuts. We will take another 30 years to tap the full potential of our irrigation. What he needs to do, rationalize food and fertilizer subsidies, which are more than 200,000 crores today. If you do it direct benefit transfer to the farmers or to the consumers, you will save 40 to 50,000 crores of rupees without giving up your objective function. That you put as additional investment in irrigation. You do it for 3 years, I can tell you this country can produce double what it is producing today. That's irrigation. Second is the seed. Seed, we have to go for more.
So you're saying irrigation is actually low-hanging fruit?
It's a very low-hanging fruit. Because for farmer to invest in his own irrigation is an expensive proposition. So wherever public irrigation can come, wherever you can help the farmer to get irrigation in place, but also not only just tapping irrigation, water management also is very critical. Because if they flood the irrigation and they misuse water
this was
inefficiency.
one of BJP's key economic manifesto promises, Khet Tak Pani.
Khet tak pani.
Remember, yeah.
But within what time frame?
Yeah.
At present, only 46%, 47% of India's gross cropped area is irrigated. More than half is dependent on rainfall.
Yeah.
So that's where the risk factor is high. Even within this irrigation, at least out of this 46, 10, 15% is such, which is only when there are good rains they can irrigate. Otherwise, assured irrigation is about 35% in the country.
Tell me, Dr. Gulati, we are about to complete 2 years, this government, NDA. Do you think we are in the direction of moving towards much higher irrigation infrastructure investments? Are the states and centre doing it, or is this also at the moment an intention?
I would say the first 2 years have shown some intention of the government. Because Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, that they started off by collating some of the other schemes into one. But I was looking at their budgets. And the budget that was announced by the finance minister last time, that 50,000 crores we will give for this over the next 5 years. So 10,000 crores each year.
Not enough.
But the schemes which they are consolidating under this, those schemes used to get actually higher allocation than this 10,000 crores together. So,
so
I was surprised.
Under the centrally sponsored.
So this whole changeover of increasing the share of the states overall.
So you're saying that they've given states more discretionary funds, but it has not resulted in irrigation
as such.
Investment, increase in irrigation investments.
So, but now I think the latest announcement the government has done is they are trying to form a National Water Commission. Which means there is concern towards water, but it's not as high a priority as we hear about Make in India every second day. I think that's where the rural masses are left behind.
It's interesting, Dr. Gulati, you're saying this, because I also noticed that in the first 2 years, in the manifesto, Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji made a lot of specific promises, like farmers will get 50% over the cost of inputs, which is on the income side, which will come to. But before that, also big investments in irrigation infrastructure. In the meanwhile, we found that this government got caught in a big agriculture crisis, not entirely of their making, but unseasonal rains, not of their making, but
natural.
And bad deficient monsoon. But what was surprising was they got kind of, when these crises hit them one after the other, instead of taking them head on, they went into a shell. That's the impression I got, and they didn't address it. And I noticed that Prime Minister never went to address big farmers, groups or farmers rallies when the crisis was at its peak and farmers were angry last year, much of last year. And for the first time, he last fortnight or last week went to Madhya Pradesh to address a big farmers rally. Now, tell me, how would farmers respond to this government? Now, Madhya Pradesh is a separate case. It's done well in agriculture. You've been associated with advising Madhya Pradesh also. So how should farmers see this government's response to their crisis?
I would put it, let us say that these 2 years, back-to-back drought, is a rare phenomenon, and it is something which, but then, if you take all the advantage.
And the collapse of farmers' income is also very rare.
If oil prices have fallen so much and you have got that huge bounty, which you never expected, from $120, $130 to $30 if you are getting, and if there is a crisis, the visionaries and stalwarts are known in difficult times. Who can rise to the challenge? And I think from that point of view, I didn't see anybody in the cabinet as a champion of agriculture during the last 2 years.
Yeah.
There is a huge vacuum. And farmers had been interacting all over the country, one after the other, who were great supporters of BJP and great expectations from the new Prime Minister that he is going to change our fate. One after the other, they first got disillusioned, and then finally they started deserting, and they are annoyed today.
Today they are.
Madhya Pradesh may be an exception because Madhya Pradesh, the growth rate in agriculture for the last 10 years has been higher, 10% per annum, 9.8% per annum.
They also suffered last year. But
They also suffered. But that chief minister was the only chief minister in the country who sent 164 IAS officers, IPS officers and forest officers back to the farmers, asked them what their problem is and what the potential solutions are. Then they were put in 5 groups. They were given chance to present what the solutions are, and outside people like us were invited as experts to advise on that. And then he announced a package for farmers because his literal vow is that I must ensure farming as a remunerative business.
You didn't see that kind of
other chief minister in the country.
response in other
Not
states.
only other
or the central agriculture minister.
I'm sorry to say that, everything cannot be done through the Prime Minister. And with all the regards and feelings for, but our agriculture champion was missing during the time of crisis. If people are in distress, even if you can't give them much, if you stand by them, that itself is a great consolation. But I mean,
I'm told regions like Bundelkhand are really very badly off. Is it?
Karnataka, Marathwada region of Maharashtra, they were in bad state. After a week or 10 days, the drinking water was coming, what to talk of water for cattle and water for crops. So the situation in certain parts was and is still grim, and I would say we need a much better champion in agriculture.
Are you suggesting that in the budget there should be a much higher allocation for agriculture?
There would be.
For
I expect
irrigation infrastructure?
If there is any wisdom in the budget making exercise left, and if there is concern for the masses, which I am sure they have, then I mean there would be a significant step up. How much and in what direction? My submission would be more look towards water, because that will augment the productivity, it will stabilize production, so there will be some drought proofing. But remunerative markets and remunerative prices is another thing which is going pretty slow.
Then we coming to remuneration, do you think we have to, now that inflation is generally on a downward trajectory, it's time to really increase remuneration and forget about economists in the government also who say that if you give higher MSPs, it will result in higher inflation and it will create problems for the economy, create problems for RBI, which will not be able to bring down interest rate. The same old record will start running again,
The question is that MSP doesn't help large majority of farmers.
Yeah.
It's less than 10% of the farmers who benefit from MSP regime.
Yeah.
You announce for 23 crops MSP. You are not able to make it effective even for 2 crops wheat and rice in most of the
But you're
states.
saying that you should make it effective for 23 crops.
Either if you want to go the government control wise, that, or clean up the markets mess, because your markets are in a messy state. We have been hearing model act of APMC for since 2003.
But nothing on ground.
Nothing on ground. You look at in fruits and vegetables, the commission agents charge for 5 minutes job 8%. Go to Maharashtra, go to Madhya Pradesh. The chief minister will tell you.
So the middleman is still
You have to clean up a
taking
lot
away
of things.
the cream of
Yes, and that's a big agenda in
margins.
itself.
Yeah.
So you go first by the markets cleaning up, give them access to the best markets in the world, not only just India.
Yeah.
So unified all India market and incentives for export so that you can get the benefits of best prices in the world, and at times you will have to come and hold the price line, because when there is a collapse of prices, like the cotton case is very clear. China stopped buying or slowed down and cotton prices started collapsing. If Cotton Corporation of India had not entered the market, there would have been a disaster.
Even then they got about 30-40% less than what they got in 2012.
But still they got at least MSP.
MSP. So you're saying clean up the markets and then wherever needed, support.
Yes.
So the combination of the two.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashok Gulati, for talking to us.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Pleasure as usual. That's all we have in this edition of State of the Economy. We'll be back with you next week. Thanks for watching.